What if I told you that a 92-year-old woman only needed 8 weeks to acquire 3 pounds of muscle? She gained rather than maintained, and she did so without consuming any eggs. That woman is one of my patients. My name is Dr. Thomas Reed. Today I'm going to share the precise items she consumed that, at a time when most experts claim it's impossible, helped her gain muscle better than eggs. This is what startled me. Her muscle protein synthesis rates were comparable to those of a person 30 years younger when we examined her blood indicators. Protein alone wasn't the key. It was some proteins that have secret qualities that eggs just don't have. If you're viewing this, you might gain years of strength and freedom in the next half hour, regardless of your age. Because everything we believe to be true about protein and aging is called into question by what you're about to discover. Let me tell you about something that keeps me up at night first, though. As you read this, your muscles are fighting a never-ending war. They either build up or break down every second. The breakdown begins to prevail after the age of 30. It picks up speed by 60. Most adults lose 50% of their muscular mass by the age of 90. The sad irony is right here. We require more protein as we age, yet our bodies have a harder time using it. It's similar to your automobile using more fuel when the engine starts to run less efficiently. This phenomenon, which scientists refer to as anabolic resistance, explains why your grandfather's diet is no longer effective for preserving muscle mass. Crucially, however, we have found that some proteins can actually get over this resistance. They contain particular chemicals that are inaccessible to flip molecular switches. In adults over 70, one of these items boosts muscle protein synthesis by 50% more than eggs. This leads me to the reason why eggs may be limiting your progress even though they were considered the best option for decades. Don't get me wrong, eggs are a great source of nutrients. 6 grams of ideal protein that is highly bioavailable and contains all of the key amino acids. Your grandma was correct to eat them. This is what your grandmother was unaware of, though. We require more than simply full protein as we get older. Proteins that reduce inflammation are essential for muscular growth. Proteins that increase insulin sensitivity are necessary. We require proteins that enhance muscle synthesis and are packed with particular vitamins. For older persons, eggs are lacking in 3 important areas. First of all, they don't contain the omega-3 fatty acids required to reduce inflammation in the muscles. Secondly, they do not supply vitamin D, which is lacking in 80% of the elderly population. Third, and perhaps most unexpectedly, they are deficient in leucine, an amino acid that functions as a key to facilitate muscle growth in aged bodies. Eggs provide a gentle pull if gaining muscle beyond 70 is like starting a stumbling lawnmower. However, the items I'm about to demonstrate to you function similarly to an electric starter. The first one dissolves in water and starts working in 60 minutes. The ingredient that's enabling 90-year-olds to gain muscle more quickly than 60-year-olds consuming eggs is whey protein. When McMaster University researchers evaluated the protein content of whey and egg in persons over 75, the results were so striking that they conducted the trial twice to make sure the whey group had doubled their muscle mass. Double. Here's the interesting part, though. It was more important to focus on speed than protein content. Before we start today, kindly let me know where you're coming from. Feel free to leave a comment below and ask any questions you may have. Click the subscribe button and turn on notifications as well, so you don't miss any of Senior Health Tips' best health tips. And if you're watching now, I want to know if you're with me. Type 1 in the comments section if you find this video to be meaningful. Type 0 otherwise. You know, we experience what I refer to as a narrowing anabolic window as we become older. After eating, young muscles can continue to use protein for hours. For older muscles to grow, there must be a sudden increase in amino acids. Within 60 minutes, whey protein enters your system. In 3 to 4 hours, eggs are ready. Your aged muscles will have lost their chance by then. Leucine, however, is whey's other secret weapon. Whey has 2.5 grams per serving compared to 1.3 grams for eggs. Here's why that's important. You need precisely 3 grams of leucine to turn on the muscle-building switch after the age of 70. You would need to devour 5 eggs. Just 1.5 scoops of whey. Leucine, isoleucine, valine, and branched-chain amino acids, BCAAs, in whey function as a 3-person rescue crew. Muscle development is signaled by leucine. Isoleucine promotes the intake of glucose for energy. Additionally, valine keeps muscles from breaking down during exercising. Compared to eggs, which contain 20% BCAAs, whey has 25% of them in more accessible forms. Additionally, whey has a distinct immunoglobulin content. In addition to increasing immunity, these antibodies lessen intestinal inflammation, which hinders older persons' ability to absorb proteins. Regular whey ingestion increases overall protein utilization from all food sources by 15%, according to studies. Whey's glycomacropeptide performs an amazing function. It promotes the production of CCK, a hormone that enhances insulin sensitivity and satiety. More amino acids enter muscle cells and are not converted to fat when insulin sensitivity is higher. My patient, who's 92, she had a whey smoothie first thing in the morning. However, its strength is increased by what she adds to it: a teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon and frozen berries. Cinnamon increases insulin sensitivity by up to 20%, ensuring that more protein enters her muscles. And the antioxidants in berries shield amino acids during absorption. If you are lactose intolerant, go for whey protein isolate. If you can handle dairy well, go for whey protein concentrate. In fact, there are more advantageous immunoglobulins in the concentrate. To protect the fragile protein structures, mix with cold liquid. To avoid oxidation, consume within 30 minutes of preparation. Imagine a protein that continues to function for 8 hours while you sleep. Assuming whey just takes an hour to start operating, cottage cheese turns become your secret weapon in this situation. Your muscles are consuming themselves for energy as you sleep. It's known as overnight catabolism, and as people age, it speeds up significantly. If you don't eat cottage cheese before bed, you will never regain the muscle mass you lost by morning. This is what occurs. The nearly pure casein protein found in cottage cheese gels in your stomach. All night long, this gel delivers amino acids hour after hour, drop by drop. When Dutch researchers fed cottage cheese to elderly people before bed, they noticed an amazing phenomenon. Even while they slept, their muscles continued to grow. But there's more to the magic. Bioactive peptides found in casein protein reduce blood pressure and enhance the quality of sleep. Increased growth hormone release from better sleep directly promotes muscular growth. A cascade effect is what it is. More protein promotes better muscle synthesis and better sleep. For aged bodies, cottage cheese offers something even more beneficial. It is the most abundant source of selenium in the diet. Why should you give a damn? Because muscle weakness is a direct result of selenium insufficiency, which affects 60% of adults over 70. The selenium in 1 cup of cottage cheese is sufficient to rebuild muscle power in a few weeks. The calcium, which makes up 14% of daily requirements per cup, complements the protein. It's not simply bones that calcium builds. It is necessary for the contraction of muscles. Regardless of muscle size, weak contractions are caused by low calcium. Research indicates that cottage cheese's calcium-protein blend increases functional strength by 25% more than protein by itself. The B12 factor is another. 38% of daily B12 requirements are met by cottage cheese, which is important because 40% of persons over 60 suffer from B12 insufficiency, which directly affects protein synthesis. Without enough B12, your muscles literally cannot use protein effectively. 30% of daily requirements for phosphorus are met by cottage cheese, which is necessary for the synthesis of ATP, the muscle cell's energy currency. ATP generation naturally decreases with age. Cottage cheese's phosphorus helps sustain energy production, which enables muscles to exert more effort and recuperate more quickly. The texture is wonderful for older individuals as well. No cooking or chewing is necessary, and even with less stomach acid, digestion is simple. Some people find the sodium content alarming, but in older folks with low blood pressure, it actually aids with hydration and food transfer. Add crushed walnuts for arginine, ground flax for omega-3s, and a little vanilla essence for taste to cottage cheese. Some of my patients add a little honey and blend it until smooth. Then freeze it for half an hour. While you sleep, it turns into ice cream while gaining muscle. Rinse cottage cheese in a fine mesh strainer if you're managing sodium intake. Protein loss will be minor, but salt reduction will be 40%. For a B vitamin boost, add nutritional yeast, pepper, or herbs to bring back the flavor. When my patients consume cottage cheese prior to bed, they report an unexpected outcome. They feel more invigorated, stronger, and less stiff when they wake up. That's the combination of better sleep quality and nightly protein synthesis at work. When it comes to surprises, you won't believe it until you learn about the fish that has a chemical that makes your muscles look younger. Salmon is more than just a muscle builder. It gives them a cellular makeover. I'm not referring to the protein, though 22 grams per dish is undoubtedly beneficial. Eggs could never supply what I'm talking about. Age-related muscle degeneration can be reversed by omega-3 fatty acids. This is what aging muscles go through. They are gradually destroyed from within by chronic inflammation. It resembles rust on an automobile's engine. This rust cannot be stopped by eggs. However, salmon's EPA and DHA are like WD-40 for your muscles. An unexpected event occurred when researchers from the University of Washington offered older folks omega-3 fatty acids, which are comparable to eating salmon 3 times a week. Participants increased their muscle mass by 6% without altering their activity or other protein intake. Here's the worst part though, not just salmon protein, but all protein made their muscles more responsive. Their anabolic resistance had been reversed by the omega-3s. It's an interesting mechanism. Muscle cell membranes become more fluid and sensitive to growth impulses when omega-3 fatty acids are incorporated into them. Additionally, they decrease inflammatory markers that cause muscle breakdown, such as TNF-alpha and IL-6, while also activating mTOR, the master regulator of muscle protein synthesis. The vitamin D comes next. A plate of wild salmon can include up to 1,000 IU. Eggs have almost none. Furthermore, vitamin D aids in more than just calcium absorption. By use of vitamin D receptors on muscle cells, it directly stimulates the creation of muscle proteins. According to studies, older person's muscle strength can be increased by 20% just by treating their vitamin D deficit. However, the pink hue of salmon is my favorite feature. Your cellular power plants, the mitochondria in your muscles, are specifically protected by the antioxidant astaxanthin. One by one, these power plants go out as we become older. Salmon eaters report less weariness during exercise because astaxanthin keeps them going. When it comes to combating singlet oxygen, the particular free radical that causes muscle damage during exercise, astaxanthin is 6,000 times more effective than vitamin C. Additionally, it penetrates cell membranes to shield muscles from the inside as well as the outside. Research indicates that taking astaxanthin supplements increases elderly person's muscle endurance by 40%. Salmon contains 40% of the daily required amount of selenium, which combines with vitamin E to create glutathione peroxidase, your body's primary antioxidant enzyme. Specifically, this enzyme guards against oxidative injury to muscles both during and after exercise. Pay attention to the creatine content. Salmon has roughly 1 gram of creatine per serving, which is less than red meat. Studies have shown that older persons who increase their creatine consumption see strength gains of 5 to 15%. Creatine directly boosts muscle strength and power. Selecting wild-caught Alaskan salmon is crucial. Farmed salmon contains artificial coloring. Instead of natural astaxanthin, has nearly no vitamin D, and has half the omega-3s. Yes, the price of wild salmon is higher. However, it's the best deal of the century when weighed against the price of losing your independence. Additionally, preparation is important. Omega-3s are better preserved by baking or poaching than by grilling or frying. The benefits of the delicate lipids can be reduced by up to 50% due to oxidation caused by the intense heat of grilling. Don't just add lemon juice for taste. Vitamin C enhances the salmon's absorption of iron and shields omega-3 fatty acids from oxidation. Canned wild salmon provides comparable advantages at a fraction of the price for people who cannot routinely purchase fish. Additional calcium is provided by the soft, edible bones found in canned salmon. For a double protein dinner that is less expensive than a fast food burger, combine Greek yogurt, herbs, and canned salmon. But what if you could obtain comparable advantages from something that is inexpensive and never goes bad? Perhaps the world's most underappreciated source of protein is hemp seeds. 10 grams of complete protein, which your aging body really favors over eggs, can be obtained with just 3 tablespoons. This is the reason. Edesin, the protein found in hemp seeds, is nearly the same as the proteins found in your blood plasma. Your body instantly detects it. No conversion is required, no stress on the digestive system. It's similar like speaking the native tongue of your muscles. However, the fatty acid profile is where the true magic lies. The ideal 3.1 ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 found in hemp seeds lowers inflammation while promoting muscle growth. Eggs? In fact, they're 20.1, encouraging inflammation. This distinction is important for aging bodies that are already battling chronic inflammation. Hemp seeds contain a unique kind of gamma-linolenic acid, or GLA. Your body transforms GLA into DGLA, which has potent anti-inflammatory properties, particularly in muscle tissue. Research indicates that taking GLA supplements helps older persons recover faster and lowers muscle discomfort by 40%. The arginine content comes next. No other protein source has as much arginine per serving as hemp seeds. By widening blood arteries, arginine enhances the transport of nutrients to muscles. Our circulation deteriorates with age, depriving our muscles of nourishment. This is reversed by arginine. Research indicates that it can increase older persons' ability to exercise by 20%. However, arginine has a different function. It promotes the secretion of growth hormone. Between the ages of 40 and 70, growth hormone levels drop by 50%, which leads to muscle loss. Hemp seeds include arginine, which can boost the production of growth hormone by as much as 30%, particularly when taken right before bed or right after working out. Particular emphasis should be paid to the magnesium in hemp seeds. Half of your daily requirements are met by 3 teaspoons. 80% of seniors suffer from magnesium shortage, which directly contributes to muscle weakness, cramping, and poor recovery. Magnesium is also necessary for the conversion of vitamin D into its active form, which is why hemp seeds complement salmon. Significant quantities of iron, 20 DV, zinc, 30 DV, and phosphorus, 45% DV, are also found in hemp seeds. Muscle energy production, protein synthesis, and oxygen transport all depend on this triad of minerals. When hemp seeds are eaten with meals high in vitamin C, the plant-based iron is more readily absorbed. Unexpected advantages come from hemp seeds' chlorophyll content, which gives them their green tint. Chlorophyll has been demonstrated to lessen exercise-induced tiredness and enhance blood oxygen delivery. Additionally, it aids in the detoxification of metabolic waste products that build up in aging muscles. 1 gram of fiber per tablespoon should not be overlooked. Short-chain fatty acids, which lower systemic inflammation and increase insulin sensitivity, are produced by the good gut bacteria that this soluble fiber nourishes. More effective protein utilization results from improved insulin sensitivity. Because hemp seeds require no preparation, my patients adore them. Eat them right out of the bag or sprinkle them over salad, yogurt, oats, or anything else. They have a somewhat nutty flavor and taste like mild sunflower seeds. It doesn't require cooking, refrigeration, or transportation. Keep hemp seeds in a dark, cool area in an airtight container. To get the most nutritious value, purchase them in smaller amounts and use them within 3 to 4 months. One word of caution: start with 1 tablespoon and work your way up over a week. Despite their benefits, the fat and fiber concentration may induce intestinal adjustment. At first, some persons have loose stools. Once adjusted, however, you will have a portable protein that lowers inflammation and increases muscle. Let's discuss another anti-inflammatory that also has a higher protein content than beef. Greek yogurt is an ecosystem for growing muscle, not just protein. Up to 25 grams of protein can be found in 1 cup. But that's only the beginning. The trillions of probiotics that change the way your body uses protein are the true power. Centenarians, or those over 100, who retained unusually high levels of muscle mass for their age, were the subject of recent Japanese research. The factor in common? Intake of fermented dairy products on a daily basis. In addition to aiding in digestion, the probiotics also decrease systemic inflammation, which deteriorates aged muscle. This is the more complex science. Certain bacteria found in Greek yogurt, specifically Streptococcus thermophilus and Lactobacillus bulgaricus, create enzymes that convert protein into bioactive peptides, regardless of the actual protein composition. These peptides have been demonstrated to enhance muscle protein synthesis by 20%. For older adults, the gut-muscle axis is revolutionary. Through inflammatory pathways, lipopolysaccharides, or LPS, produced by bad gut bacteria, cause muscle damage. The probiotics in Greek yogurt produce substances like butyrate that actively preserve muscle while driving away these dangerous bacteria. It's like having a bodyguard in your intestines to keep your biceps safe. There's more though. Vitamin K2, a substance lacking in ordinary yogurt and eggs, is produced in greater amounts by Greek yogurt probiotics. K2 stimulates proteins that enhance insulin sensitivity and muscle function, in addition to directing calcium to bones. K2 levels and muscle mass in older persons are directly correlated, according to studies. The proteins are pre-digested by the fermentation process, which breaks them down into tiny peptides that are very absorbable. This is significant since around age 70, the production of stomach acid decreases by 40%. Strong acid is necessary for the breakdown of regular yogurt and eggs. Greek yogurt comes already broken and ready to absorb right away. Whey and casein proteins are present in Greek yogurt in a 20-80 ratio. While the casein assures sustained release for hours, the whey supplies rapid amino acids for muscle synthesis after meals. It's similar to combining the advantages of cottage cheese and protein powder into one meal. Muscle contraction is directly supported by the calcium content, which is 20% of daily requirements per cup. However, because Greek yogurt contains protein and vitamin D in fortified forms, which create the ideal absorption environment, the calcium in Greek yogurt is more accessible than in supplement forms. The profile of B vitamins is outstanding. Significant quantities of B12, 38% DV, riboflavin, 35% DV, and pantothenic acid, 15 DV, are found in Greek yogurt. The production of ATP for muscular energy and the conversion of protein into muscle tissue depend on these B vitamins. Select Greek yogurt that is full fat for a number of reasons. Vitamins D, K, and A are essential for healthy muscles and are absorbed more readily when fat is present. It has been demonstrated that the conjugated linoleic acid, or CLA, found in dairy fat helps maintain muscle mass as people age. Additionally, the extra calories assist avoid undereating, which is a common issue for older persons who lose their appetite, which results in muscle loss. Greek yogurt's iodine, which is sometimes disregarded, helps thyroid function. The production of muscle proteins is directly regulated by thyroid hormones. Aging-related low thyroid function hastens the loss of muscular mass. Half of the daily iodine requirements are met by 1 cup of Greek yogurt. Add berries for antioxidants, walnuts for arginine, and ground flax for omega-3s to your Greek yogurt. A spoonful of raw honey should be added. Its prebiotics nourish the good bacteria, and its enzymes further enhance the digestion of proteins. Just now, you've developed a muscle-building meal that functions like medicine but tastes like dessert. Because most lactose is broken down during the fermentation process, Greek yogurt is frequently acceptable for people who are lactose intolerant. For optimal lactose digestion, start with little doses and select products with the highest live cultures. Now, what about the so-called incomplete plant proteins? I am going to dispel that myth. Lentils demonstrate that gaining muscle doesn't have to cost a fortune or involve using animal products. A cup has 18 grams of protein and costs roughly 50 cents. However, it's the protein that gives lentils their exceptional benefits for aging muscles. The fiber comes first. 16 grams of both soluble and insoluble material per cup. But hold on. What is the connection between fiber and muscle, you ask? Everything. According to new research, intestinal bacteria have a direct impact on muscle growth through the gut-muscle axis. Butyrate, a substance that lowers muscle inflammation and increases insulin sensitivity, is produced by bacteria fed by the fiber in lentils. Lentils-resistant starch, which functions similarly to fiber, offers special advantages. It stabilizes blood sugar, promotes fullness, and, above all, increases the thermic action of protein. This implies that the digestion of lentil protein causes your body to burn more calories, avoiding the fat gain that frequently occurs when older persons follow diets that focus on building muscle. This explains why, despite consuming less total protein, vegetarian cultures in blue zones retain their muscle mass well into their 90s. Prebiotics included with their plant proteins can increase the efficiency of muscle synthesis by as much as 30%. More folate is found in lentils than in any other food, accounting for 90% of your daily requirements. Protein synthesis at the DNA level is directly hampered by folate insufficiency, which affects 30% of older persons. Without enough folate, your muscles literally cannot produce new proteins. According to studies, addressing a folate deficiency can boost muscle mass by 5% in 3 months and enhance muscle strength in as little as 2 weeks. Given that lentils provide 37% of daily iron requirements, they merit special consideration. Iron does more than only keep anemia at bay. It is necessary for muscles to produce myoglobin. Muscle tissue stores oxygen thanks to myoglobin, enabling prolonged contractions. Iron absorption drops by 50% with age. Iron absorption is increased by 300% when vitamin C from lemon juice, bell peppers, or tomatoes is added to lentils. Compared to bananas, lentils have a higher potassium content. Potassium is essential for cramp prevention and muscular contraction. It also lessens calcium loss through urine, which aids in maintaining muscular mass. According to studies, older persons with low potassium levels can increase their muscle power by 10% by increasing their intake. Lentils' polyphenol content, especially in red and black kinds, offers anti-inflammatory properties similar to those of prescription medications. These polyphenols lower inflammatory indicators that directly cause muscle deterioration and aging, such as C-reactive protein and IL-6. For a plant protein, lentils have a very high lysine content. Each cup contains 1.3 grams. In plant-based diets, lysine is frequently the limiting amino acid. Collagen synthesis, muscle healing, and calcium absorption all depend on it. When lentils and grains are combined, a complete protein with the ideal amount of lysine is produced. Here's the lentils' useful beauty, though. Without soaking, they cook about 20 minutes. Red lentils dissolve into a creamy consistency after just 10 minutes of cooking, making them ideal for people with dental problems. For salads, French green lentils maintain their shape the best. The maximum amount of antioxidants is found in black beluga lentils. Lentils become more digestible and have a 20% higher protein content after sprouting. Lentils that have sprouted can be consumed raw or cooked just enough to retain vitamins that are sensitive to heat. Quinoa defies every norm pertaining to plant proteins. With the same ratios of all 9 necessary amino acids as milk protein, it is the only grain that is a complete protein. However, referring to quinoa as merely a source of protein is akin to referring to a Swiss Army knife as merely a blade. In addition to providing 8 grams of protein, 1 cup supplies 30% of your daily magnesium needs. Crucial as ATP production is how magnesium actually drives muscular contraction. All the protein in the world won't help without it. According to studies, addressing a magnesium shortage can boost muscle mass by 7% over 3 months and raise muscle strength by 20% in just a few weeks. In particular, the manganese in quinoa, which makes up 60% of daily requirements, shields muscles from harm caused by activity. Your body's primary antioxidant enzyme, superoxide dismutase, or SOD, is activated by manganese and keeps muscles from breaking down after exercise. After exercise, older persons who consume more manganese exhibit 30% less indicators of muscle injury. Here's what makes quinoa unique for senior citizens, though. It gives you steady energy without raising your blood sugar levels. Protein, complex carbohydrates, and fiber combine to produce a glycemic index of only 53. The blood sugar swings that cause cortisol release and consequent muscle breakdown are avoided by this consistent nutrition. All B vitamins, with the exception of B12, are present in quinoa, along with remarkable levels of B6, 20 DV, and thiamine, 15 DV. The production of ATP for muscular contraction and the conversion of protein into muscle tissue depend on these B vitamins. In particular, B6 is necessary for muscles to store glycogen. Muscles lose their energy quickly without it. Quinoa contains two potent anti-inflammatory flavonoids, quercetin and camphorol. These substances speed up recuperation and can cut muscular inflammation by up to 40%. Additionally, they promote mitochondrial biogenesis, which causes muscle cells to physically produce new energy-producing units. Instead of using water, cook the quinoa in bone broth. Collagen is added for joint health, and the protein content is doubled. While cooking, add a bay leaf to increase digestion. Use it cold in lentil salads or as a morning porridge with hemp seeds and cinnamon. You have just produced a complete protein that is plant-based and costs very little per serving. Here are some things regarding protein and aging that no one tells you. Finding the ideal source isn't the goal. It's about establishing synergy, whereby foods enhance one another's advantages. Allow me to demonstrate how my 92-year-old patients put these foods together to put on 3 pounds of muscle. Good morning. She begins with a blend of whey protein, berries, a 1/4 teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon, and a tablespoon of hemp seeds. Leucine is delivered quickly by the whey, reaching that critical 3-gram threshold. The anthocyanins in the berries increase uptake by 20% by protecting amino acids during absorption. Omega-3s from hemp seeds have anti-inflammatory properties that increase muscle cells' protein receptivity. By increasing insulin sensitivity, cinnamon makes sure that more amino acids reach muscle instead of being converted to glucose. In all, 30 grams of protein were absorbed by her muscles in less than an hour. The clever part comes here. Half an hour after her morning stretches, she drinks this. My term, absorption highway, refers to the 40% increase in blood flow to muscles caused by even mild activity. Muscles are at their most responsive when the protein is delivered, in the middle of the morning. Add a handful of walnuts and crushed flax to Greek yogurt. Probiotics do more than only help with digestion. They're actively creating vitamin K2 and decreasing inflammatory chemicals that would otherwise inhibit protein synthesis. Lignans, which are substances that enhance insulin sensitivity throughout the day, are added by the flax. To ensure that nutrients reach every muscle fiber, the walnuts supply arginine, which dilates blood vessels. 20 grams of sustained-release protein in total, which raises amino acids till lunchtime. She made an intriguing discovery. She no longer experienced the energy dip after adding a spoonful of raw honey to this snack. Raw honey's enzymes aid in the digestion of proteins, while its prebiotics support the probiotics in the yogurt, resulting in a beneficial combination. Lunch. Bowl of lentil quinoa topped with a soft-boiled egg, tahini sauce, and sautéed veggies. Indeed, we included 1 egg here as a supplement rather than as the main attraction. The amino acid profile of lentils is improved by the complete proteins found in quinoa and eggs. The calcium and magnesium that the tahini adds are necessary for muscular contraction. Nitrates from the vegetables are converted to nitric oxide, which increases muscular blood flow. 28 grams of protein in total, along with anti-inflammatory substances that shield the muscle gains from the morning. The planning is the magic. She uses bone broth, turmeric, and black pepper to cook the quinoa and lentils together. Black pepper's piperine boosts the absorption of turmeric by 2,000%, forming a potent anti-inflammatory foundation that enhances the effectiveness of all proteins. In the afternoon, a square of 85% dark chocolate and a little portion of cottage cheese with crumbled walnuts. The cottage cheese inhibits the 3 p.m. muscular deterioration that gets worse with age. There's more to the dark chocolate than just enjoyment. Its epicatechins increase blood flow to the muscles and lessen exercise-induced weariness by 20%. 15 grams of protein in total, which fills the gap until dinner. Supper. Wild fish served with sweet potatoes and roasted Brussels sprouts. Salmon's omega-3 fatty acids do more than only promote muscle growth. By lowering inflammation and increasing insulin sensitivity, they improve the function of every protein you've consumed today. Sulforaphane, which is found in Brussels sprouts, activates genes that protect muscles by acting as antioxidants. The beta-carotene found in sweet potatoes is converted to vitamin A, which is necessary for the creation of proteins. 25 grams of protein in total, together with ingredients that enhance the nutrition throughout the day. She found that eating salmon after veggies and sweet potatoes maximizes the blood sugar response by ensuring that more protein is used for muscle growth rather than fat storage. This pattern, known as food ordering, lowers insulin spikes by 40%. Prior to going to bed, a tablespoon of almond butter, cottage cheese, and a pinch of vanilla are combined. Casein is released gradually by the cottage cheese. The almond butter provides magnesium for overnight muscle repair and healthy fats that inhibit protein absorption even further. 18 grams of protein in total, which fuels muscles all night long. Every meal complements the others. Whey in the AM increases muscle sensitivity to protein throughout the day. Yogurt's probiotics enhance the absorption of all proteins. Salmon's omega-3 fatty acids lower inflammation, which would otherwise prevent the creation of proteins. The type guarantees that there are no nutritional deficits that can restrict muscular growth. Having worked with hundreds of senior citizens, I've come up with 10 unbreakable laws that distinguish muscle-building individuals from those who don't. First rule: during the day, never skip more than 4 hours of protein. Unlike youthful muscles, your aged muscles are unable to retain amino acids. They require a steady supply. If need, set up phone reminders. Rule number 2. Protein should always be consumed with meals that reduce inflammation. Inflammation blocks muscle synthesis by up to 50% in older persons. Antioxidants, fermented foods, or omega-3s should be a part of every protein meal. Rule 3. Consume 3 grams of leucine every meal. After 70, this is the bare minimum required to initiate the production of muscle proteins. Determine your leucine content in addition to your total protein. On your refrigerator, keep a leucine chart. Rule 4. After engaging in any physical activity, eat your largest protein meal. Regardless of age, your muscles are at their most responsive for 2 hours after working out, even after stair climbing or gardening. Fifth rule: every day, incorporate fermented proteins. Probiotics do more than only aid with digestion. They lessen inflammation throughout the body, which leads to muscle loss. Try to have 2 servings: kefir, fermented plant proteins, or yogurt. Rule 6. When attempting to gain muscle, never limit your caloric intake. The quickest method to lose muscle after 70 is to undereat. Rule 7. Drink a lot of water. Water is necessary for protein metabolism. A lot of it. Muscle breakdown and a 20% decrease in strength are directly caused by dehydration. Every day, try to consume half your body weight in ounces. Rule 8. Plan your nutrient intake around your sleep schedule. Protein that digests slowly before bed. Protein that digests quickly when you wake up. Overnight, your muscles are either growing or shrinking. No neutral exists. Rule 9. Take care of the shortcomings first. Regardless of protein consumption, deficits in vitamin D, B12, magnesium, and iron will prevent muscle building. Test yourself and take supplements if necessary. Rule 10. Get up and move every day. Protein is like seeds without water. If it doesn't move, for the next 48 hours, protein synthesis can be increased by 50% with just 10 minutes of resistance band training. Let me talk about the problems I hear most frequently. After 2 weeks, I'm still not seeing any improvements. In older adults, muscle growth occurs on a distinct schedule. Young people notice changes in 2 to 3 weeks, while after the age of 70, it takes 6 to 8 weeks. However, strength gains occur more quickly, typically in 10 days. Gains in strength are a good way to predict when muscle growth will occur. Because of all this protein, I feel bloated. Start more slowly. Increase your weekly protein intake by 20 grams, but don't do it all at once. With meals, include digestive enzymes. Select pre-digested fermented proteins. Additionally, keep in mind that plant proteins first increase bloating, but this goes away in 2 weeks as your gut bacteria adjusts. It costs too much. My treatment costs less than $8 a day in total, not even one lunch at a restaurant. Eggs, tinned salmon, and lentils are quite inexpensive. Compared to meat, Greek yogurt and cottage cheese are less expensive per gram of protein. Although hemp seeds are pricey, last week they were only necessary in tablespoons. That's too much for me to eat. Next, make each bite matter. Mix protein powder with your regular meals. Select the alternatives with the highest protein content. Calories from liquids are simpler, protein shakes and smoothies. When your appetite is at its peak, start each meal with protein. Since this is about diet, I haven't discussed exercise much, but you must see the link. Exercise that lacks resistance and protein is like sowing seeds in concrete. This is the lowest dose that works. Resistance exercise twice a week. Not body weight, light dumbbells, resistance bands, or big weights. Pay attention to your main muscle groups, chest, back, and legs. Muscle protein synthesis is initiated within 15 minutes and lasts for 48-72 hours. Daily motion of any kind, cleaning, gardening, and walking. Everything matters. Increased blood flow from movement helps muscles receive amino acids. Additionally, it avoids insulin resistance, which inhibits the use of proteins. Your golden window is after working out. After any exertion, muscles are 50% more responsive to protein for 2 hours. Now is the time to eat your Greek yogurt or whey protein. Chair workouts are a good place to start if you're totally sedentary. Resistance band pulls, arm circles, and seated leg raises. Research indicates that with the right protein and little exercise, even bedridden individuals can build muscle. I must leave you with a pressing reality. Waiting causes you to lose muscle that you can never regain. You can lose 1% of your muscle mass per month after the age of 70. That's 12% annually. That's functional disability in 5 years. Here's the hope though. This is something you can undo today. You can buy the foods I've shown you at any supermarket. To strategically consume protein, you don't need a gym membership, pricey supplements, or a doctor's approval. Your muscles are unaware of your age. All they know is how you move them and what you feed them. They will react if you strategically feed them these power proteins and move them regularly, even if only little. My 92-year-old patient began by including whey protein into her daily regimen. One modification sparked another. After 6 months, she had completely changed her life's course in addition to her muscles. It's not too late, and you're not too old. Your muscles are ready to expand, to get stronger, to take you into a future when you can be your strongest in your latter chapters of life, where 90 can represent vitality and age is not a sign of weakness. Make one adjustment today. Start with one meal and add one power protein. What you do now will determine your future self, the person who is still trekking at age 85, dancing at age 90, and independent at age 95. Before we start today, kindly let me know where you're coming from. Feel free to leave a comment below and ask any questions you may have. Click the subscribe button and turn on notifications as well, so you don't miss any of Senior Health Tips' best health tips. And if you're watching now, I want to know if you're with me. Type 1 in the comments section if you find this video to be meaningful. Type 0 otherwise. According to Dr. Thomas Reed, your best moments are still ahead of you. You just need to create them. Whether these foods are effective is not the question. Will you allow your muscles to surprise you? That is the question. Begin now. Get started right away. Your next meal is where your change starts.